Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, uncovering the secrets of our collective past. Today, we find ourselves in the midst of the American Civil War as we delve into the fascinating story of the Battle of Cold Harbor. This pivotal conflict, which took place from May 31 to June 12, 1864, was a clash of titans, pitting the Union Army of the Potomac against the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia. As we set the stage for our exploration of this battle, let us transport ourselves to the rolling hills and dense forests of Hanover County, Virginia. It is here, in the sweltering summer of 1864, that the armies of General Ulysses S. Grant and General Robert E. Lee would engage in a struggle that would leave an indelible mark on the course of American history. The landscape itself was a character in this drama, with its winding streams, dense thickets, and fertile plains, all of which would play a crucial role in the unfolding battle. To understand the origins of this battle, we must first examine the events that led to its inception. In the spring of 1864, General Grant, newly appointed as the commander of all Union forces, devised a strategy to defeat the Confederacy through a series of coordinated campaigns. His plan, known as the Overland Campaign, aimed to wear down the Confederate Army by constantly attacking and maneuvering, rather than relying on a single decisive battle. This approach would ultimately lead to the Battle of Cold Harbor. On May 4, 1864, Grant's army crossed the Rapidan River, marking the beginning of the Overland Campaign. The Union forces then clashed with Lee's army at the Battle of the Wilderness, a brutal and inconclusive fight that set the tone for the campaign. As the Union Army pushed southward, they encountered the Confederate defenses at Spotsylvania Courthouse, where a series of intense battles took place from May 8 to 21. The Union Army's ultimate goal was to capture the strategic crossroads town of Richmond, the capital of Virginia, and a crucial supply hub for the Confederacy. However, Lee's army stood in their way, and the Confederate general was determined to protect his capital at all costs. As the Union forces approached Richmond, they found themselves facing a series of formidable defensive lines, including the one that would become the focal point of the Battle of Cold Harbor. The stage was thus set for a confrontation that would decide the fate of the war. The armies were poised, the terrain was treacherous, and the fate of a nation hung in the balance. The Battle of Cold Harbor would be a clash of wills, a test of endurance, and a showcase for the strategic brilliance of both Grant and Lee. As we explore the earliest history of the Battle of Cold Harbor, we see the intricate dance of armies, the calculated risks, and the bold maneuvers that would shape the outcome of this epic struggle. We witness the gathering storm, the precursor to the maelstrom of steel and fire that would soon engulf the landscape. The town of Mechanicsville, with its small farms and rustic buildings, would become a key location in the battle, as would the nearby village of Bethesda Church. The Confederate forces, under the command of General Lee, had carefully prepared their defenses, constructing a series of trenches and earthworks to protect their positions. The Union Army, on the other hand, was determined to break through these lines and capture Richmond. As the two armies faced off, the air was thick with tension, and the outcome of the battle hung precariously in the balance. Join me, dear listeners, as we venture into the midst of the Battle of Cold Harbor, where heroism, sacrifice, and strategy would collide in a frenzy of bloodshed and chaos. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, as we continue our exploration of the Battle of Cold Harbor, a pivotal conflict that took place from May 31 to June 12, 1864. As we delve deeper into the heart of the battle, we find ourselves in the midst of a maelstrom of steel and fire, where heroism, sacrifice, and strategy collided in a frenzy of bloodshed and chaos. The Union Army, under the command of General Ulysses S. Grant, was determined to break through the Confederate defenses and capture the strategic city of Richmond, the capital of Virginia, and a crucial supply hub for the Confederacy. The Confederate forces, led by General Robert E. Lee, had carefully prepared their defenses, constructing a series of trenches and earthworks to protect their positions. The Union Army, on the other hand, was forced to launch a series of frontal assaults against these fortified lines, resulting in devastating losses on both sides. The battle was characterized by intense fighting, with soldiers on both sides exhibiting remarkable bravery and sacrifice. One notable example of this bravery was the charge of the 1st Massachusetts Heavy Artillery Regiment, which took place on June 3, 1864. This regiment, composed of men from across Massachusetts, launched a daring assault against the Confederate lines, suffering heavy casualties in the process. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the soldiers of the 1st Massachusetts Heavy Artillery Regiment fought valiantly, earning praise from their commanders and comrades alike. As the battle raged on, General Grant became increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress, despite the bravery of his troops. He realized that a new approach was needed to break through the Confederate defenses and capture Richmond. On June 12, 1864, Grant launched a final assault against the Confederate lines, but it was repelled with heavy losses. The battle had reached a stalemate, with both sides suffering significant casualties. The Battle of Cold Harbor was one of the bloodiest battles of the American Civil War, with estimates suggesting that over 15,000 soldiers were killed or wounded during the conflict. The Union Army suffered the majority of these casualties, with over 10,000 soldiers killed or wounded. Despite these losses, the battle marked a significant turning point in the war, as it set the stage for the eventual siege of Petersburg and the ultimate defeat of the Confederacy. As we reflect on the Battle of Cold Harbor, we are reminded of the human cost of war and the sacrifices made by soldiers on both sides. The bravery and sacrifice exhibited during this battle serve as a testament to the enduring spirit of the human soul, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. Join me, dear listeners, as we continue our journey through the annals of history, uncovering the secrets of the past and shedding new light on the complexities of human conflict. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, as we continue our exploration of the Battle of Cold Harbor, a pivotal conflict that took place from May 31 to June 12, 1864. As we shift our focus to the aftermath of the Battle of Cold Harbor, we find ourselves in the midst of a complex and nuanced landscape. The battle had resulted in staggering losses on both sides, with over 15,000 soldiers killed or wounded. The Union Army, under the command of General Ulysses S. Grant, had suffered the majority of these casualties, with over 10,000 soldiers killed or wounded. Despite these losses, the Battle of Cold Harbor marked a significant turning point in the war. It set the stage for the eventual siege of Petersburg, which would ultimately lead to the fall of Richmond and the defeat of the Confederacy. The battle also had a profound impact on the morale of both armies. The Confederate forces, led by General Robert E. Lee, had successfully repelled the Union Army's assaults, but at great cost. The battle had depleted their resources and weakened their defenses, making it increasingly difficult for them to hold back the Union Army. In the aftermath of the Battle of Cold Harbor, General Grant made the strategic decision to shift his focus from a direct assault on Richmond to a siege of Petersburg. This decision would prove to be a crucial turning point in the war, as it allowed the Union Army to gain control of the railroads and supply lines that fed into Richmond, ultimately strangling the city and forcing its surrender. The Siege of Petersburg, which lasted from June 1864 to March 1865, was a grueling and brutal campaign. The Union Army, under Grant's command, dug in around the city, constructing elaborate trenches and earthworks to protect their positions. The Confederate forces, led by Lee, were forced to respond in kind, resulting in a stalemate that would last for months. As the siege dragged on, the conditions for soldiers on both sides became increasingly dire. The trenches were filled with mud, blood, and disease, making life miserable for the soldiers who inhabited them. Despite these challenges, the Union Army remained resolute, driven by their determination to bring an end to the war and secure a Union victory. The aftermath of the Battle of Cold Harbor also had significant implications for the broader war effort. The battle marked a shift in public opinion in the North, with many Americans beginning to question the cost and purpose of the war. The heavy casualties suffered at Cold Harbor, combined with the prolonged siege of Petersburg, made it clear that the war would not be won quickly or easily. As we reflect on the aftermath of the Battle of Cold Harbor, we are reminded of the complexity and nuance of human conflict. The battle was a microcosm of the larger war, with all its attendant horrors and challenges. It serves as a testament to the enduring spirit of the human soul, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. In conclusion, the aftermath of the Battle of Cold Harbor marked a significant turning point in the American Civil War. The battle set the stage for the eventual siege of Petersburg and the ultimate defeat of the Confederacy. As we continue our journey through the annals of history, we are reminded of the importance of understanding the complexities of human conflict and the sacrifices made by soldiers on both sides. Join me next time as we explore further the intricacies of this pivotal moment in American history. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.